Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my home brew for green set 14 Boo. Earlier this week I did videos talking about my thoughts on the green cards from set 14. Boo is a little shaky for me. I'm still going to be testing it, still going to be trying to, put some work into it to give some better thoughts as time goes on. And this is where I'm at my list and testing now. So I'll be sharing that with you guys. Of course, I want to know where your builds differ down in the comments. Definitely let me know. But with that being said, be sure to subscribe here if you're new. Make sure that notification bell so you never miss a Dragon Ball Super video. And if you guys really want to support the channel, there are many ways in the description to do so. But particularly today, if you guys are looking to buy or pre-order any of the cards you see in today's video, it really does help out a lot if you use the link in the description to TCG Player. If you're looking to get any of the current green cards you need for the set or the new green cards coming out in set 14, it would be very helpful. Anyways, let's get into the deck profile. We've got the leader. Very quickly, we'll go over the leader because we did go over it in a video earlier this week. We have a auto once per turn, place a card in your life under this card. When this card attacks, draw 2. I don't love that because, again, you do want to play a bit more of a slower, control-y, grindy game. And being forced to self-awaken is a little rough, especially against aggro decks. Against mid-range and control, it's actually nice that you self-awaken, but against aggro, it does hurt just a little bit. But anyways, activate main Spirit Boost 1. Place up to 1 battle card with energy cost of 4 or less, and your opponent's drop under this card. Then choose up to one of the chosen card's keyword skills, and this card gains that skill for the turn. And on the awakened side, it's the same thing, except now you can start absorbing 4 or lesses on their board, which is a nice spot removal. This effect is cool. It does become pretty dependent on what your opponent's playing in terms of the keyword skills you gain. Like, for example, I was testing against some Blue Soul Striker playing the Galactic Buster Bojack engine, so stealing their 4-drop Bojack and getting dual attack on my leader was admittedly very cool. Awaken, realize 4 or less, draw a card and tap an energy. On the Awaken side, we have auto once per turn, this card attacks, draw 1. That pesky once per turn when we give our leader dual attack and he can't draw twice. A little bit unfortunate, but we did already read the Spirit Boost ability. And activate main once per turn, place 2 cards under this card in the owner's drop areas. This card gets plus 5,000 power until the start of your next main phase. I do really like that effect where you basically essentially get a Sensu Bean for your turn and your opponent's turn. What I said before about this leader, I'll say it again. I really like the Awakened side of this leader. I think it's really good. The Unawakened side leaves a bit to be desired in my opinion. But anyways, let's get into the main deck. So here's the main Boo engine that we're playing. We're playing 4 copies of Majin Buu Absorption Scheme. Now this card and Brilliant Absorption and another card I'll read in just a little bit all share the same Union Absorb that says choose a card under your Majin leader card and place it under this card. Then play up to 1 mono green Majin Buu with energy cost of 4 and 15,000 power from your deck or drop area on top of this card. Then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So they all share that Union Absorb, and that's really how you start like your chain, so to speak. This deck doesn't really play like a Boo chain. You're more so actually just kind of going wide with Boos, playing many different Boos to the board, but this is a mini Union Absorb chain. So the other auto and absorption scheme is just when you play it, you draw a card. There is another 1-drop Boo that is very similar. It's a 1-drop with Union Absorb, but the auto is look at the top 5 to add a Majin card. I just don't really think we play enough Majin cards in the deck for that one to be well worth it. But I do usually hard mulligan for Absorption Scheme when I can help it. So next up we have 3 Majin Buu Mighty Absorption. This is the main one you'll be Union Absorbing into. He has a permanent that protects himself from removal by popping one of your Majin tokens, which is actually really good. This guy generally sticks to the board very well. What's really cool is like if your opponent plays like some sort of wide removal or mass removal like Mass and Secret Identity, you as the controller of the cards get to choose what order they all leave the field. So let's say your opponent targets like all of your tokens and then like this guy Mighty Absorption. You get to choose for your Mighty Absorption to be the first one to go, and then you can trigger his protection effect to just like pop one of your tokens. So this guy is always safe even against like Secret Identity, which is really cool. Auto when this card's played, add up to 1 green unison with 1,000 power from your deck to your hand, and if you added a card, you pitch a card. And then activate main limit 1, Spirit Boost 1, play a Majin token, then add up to 1 card from life to your hand. So this is the main way you're gonna like start spamming the board with 15k attackers. It is neat, but like I've said many times before, 15k spam is nothing new in Dragon Ball Super, so it's not necessarily the most threatening strategy. But some of the cards are pretty good, namely Majin Buu Ultimate Despair. I really like this card. He has the same protection permanent where you can pop a token if you would leave the board. Auto when this card's played from your hand, play 1 Majin token, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under this card. So 2 energy spot removal, and you play him for 2 energy by using the activate main. If you have 3 or more mono green energy and choose one of your green battle cards and place 1 card under it in its owner's drop area, play this card from hand. So like I was saying, 2 energy spot removal for anything that also spams a token is really nice. The only thing I wish about this card is that it had either like double strike or critical, just a nice keyword skill to allow it to apply some decent pressure. That would have been good, but unfortunately does not really have that. Majin Buu, Brilliant Absorption. We have a 2-drop, and the auto is what's important here because I already read the Unit Absorb. Spirit Boost 1. If one of your green Majin Buu cards is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, play this card from your hand. So this is very similar to the red 8-drop baby that you could play if your baby was removed from the field, and just let you get back into your Buu chain. This just costs Spirit Boost 1 instead of being actually free though, so you do have to have a Unison online, but luckily Mighty Absorption searches our Unison to make our deck a bit more consistent. So again, I'm gonna hard mulligan for Majin Buu Absorption Scheme. Anything else, pretty much just gonna send back into my deck. There's not much else in the deck I do want to keep, except maybe a Unison for turn 1, especially if you kind of like go first, and we'll get into the Unison right now. So we're playing 4 copies of Bobbity Wicked Mentor. It's a 1-drop green Unison. There are a lot of 1-drop green Unisons in this set and now in the game as a result of that. And there are many you can contemplate. You can contemplate this. You can think about playing the 1-drop Demigod Unison, which is probably also a really good choice. But I go with this one because it is searchable and it does actually have good protection on its own. So permanent. If you have a battle card with Servant in rest mode, your opponent can't attack this card. Auto once per turn. When you remove a marker from this card using the Spirit Boost skill, it gains Overlord for the turn. That has not really been relevant in testing for me yet. +2 activate main. Ship to one of your mono green Majin Buu cards with an original energy cost of 15,000 power or less in rest mode. In your battle area, then the chosen card gains Servant until the end of your opponent's next turn. So it's really weird how this deck like kind of picks and chooses when it wants to use Servant and Overlord. It is pretty strange, but by attacking with your Mighty Absorption Majin Buu and then boosting it to a 25 as a Servant, that card essentially becomes a deadly defender for your Unison, which means the Unison has pretty solid protection. Like my Unison has not really died very frequently when I've been testing this deck, right? So that's pretty nice. The +2 makes Spirit Boost very, very doable as well. So I will keep this guy on like a turn 1 if I see it in my opening hand, especially if I'm going first, because you can play him out, just +2 him for no reason. 3 markers on your opponent's 1 energy is not usually going to be something they can deal with. So yeah, usually I'll keep him and the 1-drop Buu in my opening hand. But anyways, moving on to Vegeta Resolute Agent of Destruction, our 4-cost Unison, double strike critical. When you play it, you can pitch a card to wipe your opponent's entire board ignoring barrier, which is absolutely incredible. +1, the card gains 5k, so it becomes 25k double strike crit. And then -5, you get to choose 3 cards out of your opponent's hand and discard them. Admittedly, it doesn't come up all the time because I do still even use Spirit Boost when I play this guy. But this is going to bring up a pretty polarizing conversation. I don't actually play the 5-drop Buu in this deck. I gave you guys my thoughts on the card earlier this week. I just don't think it's that good in this particular deck. I think there are maybe like some Cell Surge builds out there that can house that card pretty well. Wiping your own board, even though you do get to keep your own tokens, that's not worth it for me. And I really think for 4 energy, this card is honestly just better than that 5-drop Buu. Like this is my kind of like boss monster. It's totally fine to replace your Bibbidi or your Bobbity rather on turn 4 with this card. This card is just such a powerhouse. I know a lot of people are going to be hating that I don't play the 5-drop Buu, and I totally get it. The card is built for the deck, I guess, but I just don't think it's that good. So let me know in the comments below if you've been seeing success. I just don't really successfully get to turn 5 in a comfortable position. Again, that has to do a lot with the fact that the leader self-awakens. Dormant is not the negate it used to be. We do play Dormant in the deck. And even the Buu Topo, which we'll talk about more in a second, it's just really tough to get to that turn 5 comfortably. But anyways, the secret rare though, this has got to be one of the best secret rares in the game now. This card is so insane. Probably the best one in the set, even though we haven't seen all the SCRs for the set, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that because this card is absolutely incredible. Like, nimbusing your opponent, stealing their Unison is such an insane, like, thing you can do now. It's just so incredible. This is one of our best win cons, one of our main win cons in the deck for sure. And of course, playing our 4 charismatic villain paired with 2 Fuse Zamasu Deity's Wrath. It's just a great green combo you can play. Frieza, counterplay, pop something, change it into a Deity's Wrath, just start ripping cards out of their hand. And 4 Great Saiyaman super combos. The only reason I'm playing Great Saiyaman over Paragus is that it does actually benefit you to have some of your Boos in the deck. So that's really the only reason I'm playing this guy. You could also probably just play Paragus and be totally fine. Yeah, so that's definitely a thing. And then for our negate defensive lineup, we're playing 4 Dormants and we're playing 4 Majin Buu Unadulterated Malice. So here's the thing, like I mentioned before, Dormant is not the negate it used to be. It's still not bad. It's okay in like the early game, but if you're at like 2 life and your opponent's going for game, Dormant is actually awful. Like not stopping that initial attack means so much when you're at like 2 life. So it's okay like in the mid game to early game. Majin Buu Unadulterated Malice is an absolutely excellent card. It's so strong and green. Like it's a really, really good green card. The problem is though, unlike Red, for instance, where you have a similar comparison to like Topo Righteous Aid, Red does so much for free aggressively that you're able to pay 2 for topo and still put adequate pressure on the opponent. Green, not so much. You're paying 2 energy and you're stopping yourself from using 2 energy on your turn proactively to keep 2 up for Unadulterated Malice, but you're not going to be able to make up for that pressure when it rolls back around to your turn, if that makes sense. Like Invoker, for example, they can just stall at turn 5, pre-ban list. They can stall at turn 5, turn 6, and when they get to that turn, they have cards that let them automatically win. The 5-drop Boo for this deck is not that type of card. You play 5-drop Boo, it's not going to win you the game on that turn. It might set you up to win the game maybe the next turn, but a lot of times, especially against a seasoned veteran player, that's not going to cut it. So yeah, this is an amazing card, but as far as green goes, in this deck in particular, it's a bit weird. 2 Shocking Death Ball, because of course when you have Dormant, you want to follow it up with a negate usually. We're also playing 4 copies of Zarbon Cosmic Elite. Now the main reason I'm playing 4 copies of this card is because I noticed a lot of things in this deck are kind of energy expensive. So there are some times that I do want to only use 1 energy for something relatively decent. And this was Rebrand Punishing Passion in my earlier stages of testing, because a lot of your boos have discard effects. But again, because of the cheap energy thing, I found myself being able to spend 1 for this rather than spending 1 for Rebrand, or sorry, 2 for Rebrand. So that's the main reason why this is Zarbon Cosmic Elite and not, anything else. But this is our discard outlet. If Beerus Godly Majesty was still a card, we'd probably be playing that one instead, but that card got banned, so we're going to Zarbon Cosmic Elite for that slot. Now for our finishers, we have 2 copies of Son Goku's Spirit Bomb Unleashed. This card is kind of insane. Limit 1, play it for 1 if you have 3 or more energy and a green unison in play. I mentioned before earlier this week, though, that the Spirit Boost ability is a little bit hard to pull off because you are Spirit Boosting your own unisons a lot. So your unisons are going to be pretty low in markers by the time you're ready to play this guy. But he can be a pretty solid finisher, and just poking a marker off your opponent's unison can also be relevant sometimes. And for finishers, we're playing 2 copies of SS4 Bardock Fighting Its Fates and 1 copy of Furthering Instruction Champa. So the main goal of this deck is to get to turn 4 by, dormanting, topo, boo topoing, however you have to do it, establishing your board with boos, tokens, and whatever else you can. And by the time you get to turn 4, if you can awaken that turn, that'd be great. You can play your Vegeta Unison, awaken, play Goku Spirit Bomb Unleashed, play Bardock Fighting Against Fates, or if you did that in some other type of order, you could throw Champa in there. So that's really what you want to do. This is really a turn 4 deck. That's the way I've built it to play. Not really like turn 5, turn 6, like it seems like the set wants you to build it like. But anyways, guys, that's my build. I want to know in the comments below what you think. I know a lot of people are going to find it kind of weird, but I am definitely open to the criticism and to the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.